Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tenders, Wednesday, October 21st, 2025. So we're going to take a look quickly if the charts today are smooth. We'll go through as many as possible in a short amount of time. We're getting ready to go out on a hike here, so I want to make sure I get this video out. And nothing has really changed. We're in the same range. We're in the same setup as yesterday. So before I get started, we're doing this intraday about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think we're noon here. Yeah, so 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube supporter. Come join us in the Discord. It's 99 cents a month. And if you want additional videos or information, there is another level as well. But the biggest thing here today is to notice, the biggest thing for the Discord is that we have our cheddar data that's giving us a lot of put options, some sweeps in there, and that comes with the Discord, so check that out. And so we're starting to get a reversal today. Things were pushing a little bit higher. Maybe there was some news or something like that, so that just started a second ago. But it's no, there's no doubt that that something bigger is looking to happen here. Okay, we had this on this naked chart here. We still have, first of all, let me talk about yesterday. Changes to the 2-day, the 3 method setup, Japanese candle pattern, 3 method. You can look that up yourself. We have the 3 2-day candles here. We have our big first candle, 3 days in here. And then between today and tomorrow, we're looking for a close underneath that candle here. Now, I giggle because that's a huge move. Well, clearly nobody thought we'd get that move either. So far we're getting a reversal candle on the daily time frame. Switch back over there. And so, this could be a sign that we're maybe maxed out. And I'm looking at this as being a bigger bear flag. We'll see that on the lower time frame if we have time to get there. Nothing to really look at. Breadth was increasing on the McClellan oscillator. Maybe we get to that overbought territory. Not sure what's happening there, but we are getting lower highs. So is breadth increasing? I don't know. It's hard to say because if you're looking at maybe it's deceiving because the Dow and some of the IWM was up today, now red. But looking at trend, more volume is going into declining stocks than they are advancing stocks. So that may be an indicator up there telling us that a contrarian indicator that something's wrong underneath the hood. So we look at all these things for clues. And again, we're getting weakness out of the semiconductors. All of our driving stocks at the upside are actually holding the market down. So we do have earnings today also that we have to look out for. Netflix is starting off the tech earnings. Is that going to accelerate us to the upside? Well, a lot of times you get your move to the downside first, and then you move higher. So there's still a bullish situation here. And again, I want to explain this. We had this consolidation, so you can consider this a triangle price action. We broke out from it. We're the second day above it here. And what we need to look out for if you're bullish is a back test, maybe a close of that gap right here that got us. And it's very typical for a triangle to break out and to back test maybe to that midpoint there, about 665. Maybe 666. We've been wrapping around that price anyway for quite some time. So if that holds, something could, be happening here to where we go much higher. And we do have targets up there. But again, I think we at minimum just get a bigger reversal. We haven't even come close to testing the ending diagonal here. So I do have an alternative count for this ending diagonal. I was looking at SPY, and there's so many charts, and sometimes you miss something, and I'll show you that actually right now before we move on. Just want to show you SPY with here's our traditional look, and this isn't something new that I put on here. This channel's been here for some time, and we were fighting with the bottom of this channel, fighting with it. That was forming that triangle right there, and we pushed off of it. All right, so it was something I really, so in other words, we're still in this channel. Could we go higher in this channel? Yeah. Do we hit the top? Sure. It held on to the trend, so we'll see where it goes from there. That would be a major breakdown from here if we did break down from this point. If you put on the moving averages, and we'll go back to SPX for that. So if you put on the moving averages, it'd be a lot more devastating move than we think if we did make a new low here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a new bullish trend after this volatility, consolidation, and breakout above that 8 EMA, above the 20. I would not be surprised if this was it for the correction. This is the first time we're testing since the April lows of the 50 moving average. So if this is going to be a parabolic move that continues higher, then so be it. You know, in the past, now I know this is an expanding ending diagonal here that we've been looking out for, this pattern, and so wave 5 could be longer than wave 3, and wave 3 is longer than wave 1. Note the expanding. Well, in their corrections, in the larger corrections, the 50, it didn't hold anything. All right, yeah, a little bit here and there, but it really had spikes down to the 100, and that was key. Now, again, if this is the expanding part, and I'll show you, I know I'm bouncing back and forth here, but on SPY, here is our bullish, it's our bullish and our, it's both scenarios here, whether we're done with this move and we continue lower, or if we actually continue up to the higher targets. This is your 1, 2, 3. Notice 3 is larger than 1. 4 is larger than 2. So why not wave 5 be the largest wave, just like a commodity typically acts like? So that's possible. If we hold these trend lines here, and then, and I know it sounds like I'm making a bullish case here, but we have all these divergences and things like that. So we're looking for a larger pullback. Now, our first target here, the 127.2, where we thought we were going to get this last move here before heading lower, that was a primary target. Now we're above it and we're holding it, and we're holding the moving averages. So yeah, it's hard to argue either way at this point. It's really, you have your next major target here at 695, just underneath. And if things get wacky and wild, you have a target all the way up here that is the top of the wedge at 744. So that hasn't gone away. That scenario hasn't gone away. The thing is just we have had no real correction. Now that was one day of a massive move here, but you know, some of these days, you know, I don't want to have recency bias, like it has to be the same thing, but one day of a correction in this be the wave 4 or B wave, and then continue higher for wave C or 5, whatever your count is. And then what that means is that we're starting a whole new leg just now. And so we have targets above. So I don't know, we're going to have to see some things flow here. So I'm trying to give you perspective with the indicators. Let's go here. All right, so here's our trend. Still fighting with the week before. That's why these are still red, but we do have our buy signal. We're above that 20. We're out of this consolidation. So starting to get a little bit more positive here. Again, with the moving averages, you know, you're holding above the 8 and the 20. The McClellan oscillator is moving a little bit higher. Let's see here. So we're heading north here on the slow stochastic, and we're getting to that overbought situation. Now that could last for a little bit of time, but we're still heading lower. So do we get a histogram cross here and cross back up? And so we need to see this confirmation here on the MACD to see that we're going higher and that we're continuing a brand new leg to the upside. Didn't even test down to that 0 line. Is it that bullish? I'm not so sure. I still think we might at minimum test that that 0 line, and this might be a flat pattern at minimum. Okay, and then we head higher from there. So again, it's first time it's hitting. Obviously, the momentum is just very impressive, and we're holding that 50, and then we're starting to get stronger in the RSI here. Let's see if we do get a new high, then we'll have another divergent high here. You could start to, let me put on the indicators. You could start to have a downtrend very similar to what's happening there. You could start this downtrend, so that's divergence. It would create another divergence unless we broke out from it, but we do have some room to go. So here again is your wedge, broke down from it, big damage there, and starting to repair itself. Back testing that wedge, see where we go from here. Now we did get some demarks on a lower time frame, so let's see where we're at with there. But here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 4 count. Let's see where that goes from there. Do we get a 9 count all the way up? Possible. Money flow. We're moving right along. These charts aren't really stalling very much, so let's go ahead and go to SPY. Let's go to the traditional look. Again, holding this new. Now, this clearly, the channel is good with all of these touches here and the push off of it. Now we have much more. We have more than 3 tags there, so that's what's important with that one. So we have that money flow index, and that still seems to be dropping at this point. So not convinced yet that we're going higher. We had this divergence here. All right. And what we were looking for was a head and shoulder pattern. Now it's a real deep right shoulder. So if it does eke out a new high, that could be a 3 drives to a high there. And that would be, again, a divergence. And then you could see the sell off from there. So, yeah, there's so much that I could show you. Elliott oscillator still in the green. So even if we go a little bit higher, you get another divergence there. Bollinger Band getting tighter, nothing to see here. No setup. We're still in the same resistance as yesterday. I know we're just a little bit above yesterday, but just oscillating from positive to negative here. What else can I show you? There's something, so if we zip through here, so we have the Magnificent 7. We still have a downtrend. We could get a larger correction, more complex, or we go to new all-time highs, and this 3-wave move was done. You have Apple that now has divergence and is at all-time highs, so we'll see how that acts at this point. Do we break back down in a fake break here at 260? We have Tesla earnings coming up really soon here. And still in a wedge formation, but I was able, after I looked at SPY, I was able to draw another trend line here that is very valid. So we'll see, almost looks like an ascending triangle, and we broke out from there, back test. So as long as this holds, you have moving averages here. As long as this holds, you know, this is still bullish and could at minimum retrace a little bit higher. But just from this point of view, still looks like a 3-wave move. So Amazon made a lower high here. Does look like an impulse wave at this point, and this could just be a retracement, but it did tag the 200 moving average. So clearly you're getting a bounce off of there, but still kind of negative at this 50. You'll probably be at the 50-60% retracement. Let's see if this holds up. So this has potential to still head to the downside. Again, that Tesla, that could be a 1-2-1-2 setup. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that I'm bullish on Tesla. We'll have to see what earnings does. And earnings, I will not trade those. It just doesn't make any sense because it could go either way. All right, so Meta still holding on to its major trend line. And so far, this is a 3-wave move. Now, I was hoping to get one last touchdown here, one last tag, and that still could happen. This looks like a flat pattern so far. And if we can get a leading diagonal to the downside, then this would look a little bit more bullish, but or excuse me, a little bit more bearish as a 5-wave move down, but you could get a retracement after that. So those are the little cues that we look for, no pun intended with the cues. And NVIDIA, there's a couple ways, again, you can look at this. So it had its top here, but you have this expanding kind of look here. So if you put these 2 points and you had a spike through there, does that make it valid? It seems to be, because you had a couple more that held, a couple more candles. And you have this 50 moving average. Now it's getting sandwiched between the 8, 20, and 50 right here. So we do have a volume shelf without looking at that. We have a huge volume shelf that the top is here. Was that a fake break and we continue lower in this consolidation for a lower move? We really can't tell yet. Is this an ascending triangle? You popped up here and just testing back the triangle and we go higher. That's to be known. We're just in such a neutral stance here. I know that when we make these videos, you want to hear decisiveness, okay? And although we have all of these divergences that could have played out already, but on a much bigger time frame, I just seriously doubt that. And so looking at Google, we had a 3-wave move and made a new high here. Now, is that going to extend? Is that going to become a 1, 2? We did have some cheddar flow for options call sweeps, and Google, after this correction here today, big 4 or 5% move down here, and all it's doing is really pushing off that 8 and the 20 moving average. All right, so here's your 1, 2 possible setup to go higher. And again, that's if you had a flag here, it was just back testing that flag. All right, so here is one thing that we really need to look at, and that's the VIX, because we've been screaming out how much the VIX is important here. We were in that daily cycle low, ideal low yesterday, but we're still in that window. It's plus or minus 3 days around that ideal low. So we got the ideal low yesterday, and we're making a new divergent low here at the 20 moving average. So this is just key. Is this going to continue to just sink here and just drop to, maybe down to the 50 moving average where you have all of this volume here? I mean, it's a possibility. Or is it going to hold this 20 today? We're going to have to see what these, if Netflix is positive, then it seems like it'll drive most of the cues and probably make a new high. We're right at all-time highs, so that could be a possibility. It's all about what the order flow does going into these earnings here. And if Netflix is negative, anything can happen. If Netflix is negative, we're going to have to be reactive on this. If it's negative and starts dragging the market down, but then you have an NVIDIA that pushes everything higher, because I was trying to get at something else. If this holds and does break back above here, you do have a possible ending diagonal. Now you can count this as being done, and you have these negative divergences here, but there's a bigger way to count this, and this is going to lead to where I'm at with SPY. So this could be a 1 here, 2, 3, all the way up here, a large 4 that crosses over 1, and that could be the 1 too. It doesn't matter which one you do. Crosses over, and now you go get that 5th wave up higher. All right, so that would be obviously positive for the market. And then so let's go over to SPY on the 65. So again, I think we're reversing off of here, but we need to have more evidence, because clearly things are holding up positive. Here's that triangle formation, gapped up above it, right into resistance here. Does this hold? Do we close the gap and then go higher? That would seem more reasonable than just going straight up from here to whatever point. At least we should see some sort of pullback, maybe close this gap that gets us to the middle of the week here, and then we have some positive structure to work off of. Now, if we get really bearish into this, and this is actually a flat pattern for an A, B, then we have our price targets down low. We have our options expected move. We have some of the measured moves here. 635 remains that point. What I want to show you, if we need to go and tag all-time highs first, here's our ending diagonal, our wave 3 and a 4. We never shied away from this one. But now, as we have our, wave 3 and a 4, I think I have, okay, never mind. This is our flat pattern. If we get a little bit more bearish and things are pushing down. Now, we have cycles and things like that we talk about in the Discord, that this makes the most sense if those cycles are to play out properly, and we get down to those targets that we're talking about. There's an A, B, C. We get down there, test the 100 moving average on the daily time frame, and we go higher. Okay, now the alternate scenario that in both kind of come into play here is if we want to go higher, and then this whole wave count is done, and then we have an impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. Here it is. Here's so that we've never wavered off of this wave 3 and a 4. It's just a matter of what this last wave looked like. So just like Nvidia is going to push higher, then I think we'll get new highs in SPY, right? So we have this ABC for a 1 in the turquoise, ABC for 2, A, B, C for 3. This is the bullish count. That was all a wave 4 here. And remember, SPX did not make a new high while SPY did. So that could have been the clue where this is an ABC there, expanded flat, and SPX had a regular flat. All right, so here's your ABC up for 5, and we make new highs. So that will probably be telling with whatever Nvidia decides to do. Okay, I know there's a lot going on here. Again, I'm bearish on this, whether we make a new high or not. We're going to have these divergences. But if here is our bullish scenario, if we can get that gap close, hold on to this trend line, then we have some structure to work with. Boom, boom. And we can start moving higher. That would be the ideal bullish situation. I just don't see the strength of this moving directly from this point. All right, so back test close gap, bullish, holding on this 200, this trend line, boom, we can go higher. All right, and those targets for that would be around 700, and then after that 745. Okay, this breaks down. Then we have some real good damage, and this move is probably done where this is our wave 5 rather than 3. Done. And then you go into those two scenarios again, whether this is a top, if the top is done here and this is a 1-2 setup, and we go lower for wave 3 and then 4 and 5 and make both of our targets down here, or this is a secondary bullish scenario where obviously bearish in the near term. We have a flat pattern with just such a deep retracement. And so flat patterns could go expanded flat too, right? And then down here for a 5-wave impulse move. So it's going to be so confusing no matter what. If we get this large move to the downside, bears are going to say this is our impulse wave down here. All right. If we do make new highs, they'll say that's wave 1. All right. If we don't get a new high, they'll say this is a 1, 2, wave 3. All right. Trend change, wave 4 and wave 5 lower. Maybe close this gap. And so bulls, they want to hold it. They want to hold all those moving averages, the 8 EMA, the 20, and they want to at least pull those indicators back and move higher into that channel. Okay. And then later on, the bulls are going to argue this is an A, B, C, and here's a buying opportunity to go higher. Where this is wave 4 completion. We have a large wave 5 that brings us much higher. Now, that's way more believable to me than any just short-term, really small wave here. So either way, we have a lot of things that could go on here. We have to see, but our cycles are pointing to lower. This is still a bearish setup on that 2-day. And you have a large move that should break these lows and close under those lows. And that's by tomorrow, you guys, for that setup to be a perfect 3-method setup on that 2-day. Okay. So we'll see what happens. Do we get some bearishness? We'll see. Can't really answer that, but that's what I'm looking for. And when price makes it to here, what happens? When price makes it to here, what happens? That's why we do these videos each and every day. And we'll end it here, you guys. This is much longer than I need to be. Got to get going. So I hope all this helps. VIX is, our cycles are telling us we're going lower. VIX is telling us, hey, we're likely to hold on to that 20 or get back above it, and the cycle lows are in, and we go higher in the VIX. All right. So let price action tell us what happens.